What is up? My name is Garrett at Yoker on Twitter, YOOGRRTT. Thank you so much for tuning into the Now Notation YouTube channel. Welcome back to another album review. Today we are talking about Trippie Redd's Exclamation. And this is technically a sophomore album, a follow-up, if you will, to Life's a Trip from last year, 2018. And there's a review on this channel if you want to go check out what I thought about that. I really enjoyed that album, and there's technically been a mixtape release since then, which is a Love Letter to You 3, which was the third entry into the Love Letter to You mixtape series. And you know, I kind of came into introduction to Trippie Redd through Love Scars 1, and that was, I think, like a music video that was shoved in my face via YouTube suggestions on the Pigeons and Planes YouTube channel. And you know, that thing kind of just set this guy off onto a crazy trajectory, which involved a crazy beef with none other than 6ix9ine. And you know, he really quickly rose up to the top. He was on the freshman cover last year, if not the year before. And you know, it's been kind of crazy to see where this guy is and where this guy has been, because it's just been so quick. And if you really look at it, it's really only been like a year to 2 years, 2 years at most, like, of him actually hitting the scene. Ever since like Love Scars 2 music video with Cole Bennett, it's just been nonstop. So when you look at Exclamation and you look at where he is in his career, and when you look at where I feel like a lot of people expect him to be, this album may be something that is huge to the audience, the diehard fans. Maybe they were looking forward to this, but I honestly had no idea this was coming out. Ever since like 6ix9ine and a lot of that beef died down, like, I honestly thought about it and I was like, I haven't been on Trippie Redd's social media account in forever. Whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, like, I haven't been paying attention. I did a review, you know, for his various albums. I listen to his music when the project comes out, but I'm not really paying attention to the singles. So for this to come out, it kind of hit me out of surprise. I was excited. I was like, let's get into it. And unfortunately, it just didn't pan out to be what I enjoyed in Life's a Trip, which was an album that I really much enjoyed for its like abstract feel. I felt like he was going for not only like this kind of crazy you know, album cover, but it was also kind of surrounded by this various spectrum of like attempts at doing different types of sounds. When you come into this album, if you're looking for that, I don't feel like that's as very much present as you may want it to be. But what I do find interesting is that his performance, his like ability to be an artist, is definitely shining a little bit more as far as like effort and like actual like attempt at making like ballads and songs. Like, that's all there, and that's cool in the music making. But at the same time, I did find myself having that concept in itself be lost with like just how it feels like he's almost really trying to go for like a Grammy. And I know you're gonna say, what artist isn't going for a Grammy at this point? Like, who isn't trying to make the best music possible on this planet? And I agree with that. But if I'm listening to your track and I feel like, wow, this sounds really good, but then it takes to a turn where it's like, but you didn't have to go, like, it's already sounding good, why are you trying to like show off more? I feel like with your vocal range, like, and it's definitely a very much Trippie Redd vocal range, which is like memeified in itself. I'm sure I'm gonna throw in the meme at the beginning of this fucking review and you'll know exactly what I mean. And it's just, that's what it is, and it's not so much diverting outside of that. It just sounds like that type of singing, his type of vocals sound better on this very album. Let's take a look at the track listing real quick. Track number 1 is Exclamation. Track number 2 is Snakeskin. Track number 3 is Be Yourself. Track number 4 is I Try. 5 is They Care of You, featuring Playboi Carti. Track number 6 is Immortal featuring The Game. Track number 7 is Throw It Away. 8, Keep Your Head Up. 9, Riot. 10, Mac 10 featuring Lil Baby and Lil Duke. Track number 11 is Everything Bows featuring Coi Leray. Track number 12 is Under Enemy Arms. 13, Lil Wayne. 14, Signing Off. And you know, standout tracks just off the top, I feel like Snakeskin. I'll shout out The Game on Immortal. I'll touch on that in a second. Riot, best song on the fucking album without a doubt. That song stands out a lot more than every single other one for every single reason. Like, when I was listening to this album, it was feeling like a chore to actually get through all 14 tracks at some points. But what I did catch myself is I was like, for the most part, doing things. Like, I was working a shift one night and I put this thing on. I was like doing dishes the one night, and I was like, fucking put this thing on, and I just kept myself, like, I caught myself kind of zoning out, getting in this like trance, if you will, where I would look up and then boom, it'd be like 6 tracks later. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, because again, it wasn't like I was like losing myself because I was having so much fun. It was like I wasn't necessarily paying attention to the content of the music, just like the sound of it hitting me, and I'm doing this monotonous chore anyways. So to, like, I don't know how I feel about this album. Like, I just know that I don't love it, and that's like a thing that I do feel, and I can say. But one thing I will say is every single time that I caught myself in a trance where I was like, whoa, like I missed like tracks, I feel like I missed a track or two back there, Riot would snap me right out of that thing immediately. I was listening, I was fucking excited to hear this, and yeah, that song's fire as hell. I also want to shout out, you know, I guess Under Enemy Arms is fire, but Keep Your Head Up is also really good. And They Afraid of You, yeah, Playboi Carti and Trippie Redd. Can't ever like diss that duo. I feel like it's a pretty good one. But what I was saying about the game is that like the game being on this album sounds kind of out of pocket at times, but it does sound like super like refreshing also, because it's the game, and it's like, okay, this is the man, the myth, the legend. Like, he's an OG, and you know, I feel like you can't really hate too much on him. So him coming into this kind of like almost legitimizes a lot of like the song. So but I don't feel like I would have enjoyed the song Immortal if the game didn't come in and kind of save it later on. Everything Bows is the team up of Coi Leray and Trippie Redd, which is like the love interest, or I don't know, they're fucking in love, whatever. They're dating. So to include her on there, I don't know. I just feel like her verse was like kind of trying to serve as like, hey, this is her if you don't know, and like it just kind of felt like she was trying to show off every single facet of what she does with her voice. It's like, hey, I can do this, hey, I can do this, hey, I can do this, all in like a 45-second hook. If even that, it's probably more like 30 seconds of like just a verse. It's not even a hook. Like, it's crazy. She starts like singing all crazy at the end, and then you're just like, okay, but what the fuck was that? Like, I didn't take very much from it, and it didn't show off as much. Lil Baby, Lil Duke, I was a cool team up. It just, again, it just wasn't, it was kind of shallow at the same time. But as far as this album tying together, I don't feel like there's very many threads that keep it pushing forward as far as like a solo project. I'm definitely going to keep listening to Riot. Snakeskin's a fun track. But other than that, like, I'm not seeing much going on. But I will say that Trippie Redd albums generally do grow on me. I don't feel like the last one, A Love Letter to You 3, did, but I do feel like this album at times feels a lot better than that album. So, but it doesn't touch Life's a Trip, in my opinion. But yeah, I do like Trippie Redd. I just don't understand like what he's going for sometimes, because I really would have just preferred a lot more of like fun tracks that weren't necessarily trying to just like demonstrate him as an artist. And I know that sounds weird, like it didn't work for me. It fell short, and you know, whatever. I do want to touch on the fact that this is called Exclamation Point, which is kind of like a tribute in his own words to XXXTentacion's question mark album, which was his last album released while he was still alive. And a lot of people are kind of giving hate to that, and I'm not going to speak on the specifics of that. I just did want to comment and let you know that is why it is called Exclamation Point, is because his friend, he was the only feature on question mark. So, I mean, in a way, it makes sense. So, I don't know. Like I said, that's just the information. That's what he says. There's plenty of interviews and plenty of videos on the internet, I'm sure, at this point, explaining why this is not okay, but I'm not here to do that for you. So, but yeah, this is my review of Question Mark. What did you think of the album? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for all the support on this channel. I really do appreciate it. You are the best. Thank you so much. Follow me on Twitter at YoGarrett, YoGRTT. Instagram as well. Now notation on those two platforms as well. Thank you so much again. Take care of yourselves. And that is all, folks.